Minecraft and its community had and still has tens if not hundreds of mysteries and creepypastas for players to enjoy. But no mystery in my eyes is quite as interesting and exciting as the one we're going to talk about today. In this video, I gathered all the existing info I could to tell you the bone-chilling story of Minecraft's Entity Zero. If this video can get me over 1.75 thousand subscribers, I'll do a 24-hour stream, so if you're feeling generous, please subscribe, drop a like, and a comment. The story told in this video is fiction and has no connection to the real Minecraft game. All statements in this video are made for entertainment purposes. Entity Zero appears to be a warped, disfigured version of its fabricated counterpart, Entity 303. Many know of the infamous Minecraft entity, Entity 303, an old tale of a Herobrine wannabe. Many also know that that entity is pure and utter bullshit. Of course, this does not leave the world of Minecraft free of such terrors, all sunshine and rainbows. No, in the creation of Minecraft, an entity much worse than conceivable came to be. And I know of this story because my father worked at Mojang. The idea of Entity Zero came to Mojang when development of Minecraft just began, way back in the InfDev and InDev stages of the game. Back then, the End and the Ender Dragon weren't even a thought in their heads, but what was is the need to give Minecraft players a bigger goal to achieve in the game, which is why Mojang decided to develop a major enemy. Something scarier and much worse than all the other hostile mobs that were in the game at that time. This is how codename Annihilation, later to be known as Entity Zero, came to be. It started out as a few zeros in the code that acted both as an Easter egg and a future reference for where the developers would write the code for Annihilation. Work on the entity began in mid-beta Minecraft. It got a procedurally generated skin and used an AI similar to that of a zombie, which then got upgraded to resemble a nowadays Enderman AI. It wasn't terrifying per se, but it was sure unnerving. The entity was now secretly added into Minecraft, but no stock game feature could spawn it. The only way you could spawn it is if your world seed was exactly 8 zeros, and it would spawn only at a specific coordinate. Nobody has yet to find out what exactly that coordinate is. Now we're skipping forward in time a bit, closer to update 1.0. At that point, Mojang began writing out a story for Minecraft, and that's when the End and the Ender Dragon came to be. Hence, the code for Annihilation was locked and it was set to be released in a later post-release version of the game. At that point, the father of the story's writer noticed that Entity Zero's code had reverted itself way back to just, well, zeros. Yet for some unknown reason, Annihilation would still spawn at the given coordinates. After Minecraft's release, Annihilation was left abandoned and Mojang decided to take a small break for themselves from Minecraft. However, since there was a time crunch in trying to release the game before Minecon 2011, nobody noticed a bug that allowed Entity Zero to merge itself into Minecraft's main code branch and gave it access to pretty much everything in the game. Upon returning, Mojang realized their mistake. Entity Zero completely overhauled its own code, extending it and grabbing bits from other AI's code. If the code were to be edited, it would turn to just zeros and give you a bunch of errors before reverting back to its original state. There was nobody to blame for the entity getting out of hands, really. The Mojang office was completely locked and empty before Minecon. After that, Annihilation's code was fully locked so that it couldn't be ran in a Minecraft environment, and the OP's father was commanded to cease development on Annihilation, instead spending time trying to find ways to remove it from Minecraft's code. 4 months after the release of Minecraft version 1.1, the first sighting occurred. It was posted by a user to the Minecraft forums. Here is what they had to say. I'd created a new Minecraft world on versions 1.2.5 on the peaceful difficulty, intending to immerse myself in the serenity of a Minecraft world void of the fear of deadly creatures. Spawning into the world, I found myself on an entirely flat chunk of grass, surrounded by chunks of cliffs and hills. Thinking this would make an interesting moment on a seed showcase, I hit F3 to view the seed, only to discover it was 1-0. There were convenient steps and a cliff chunk facing me, which I climbed up to the plateau above. As soon as my head passed the edge of the plateau, I noticed a grey figure sprint at superhuman speeds away from me, just catching a glimpse of it. Thinking it was a figment of my imagination, I continued forth. My next sighting of the figure would be much later in the game. I prepared to venture back down my mine in pursuit of diamonds. Oddly enough, the game had been crashing to 0 FPS and, upon viewing my F3 menu, 0 MB RAM usage every so often, which I thought was due to background processes on my computer, which would subside soon enough. Even with the logical answer, I became nervous. My reflexes ready to snap at any button in front of me if something were to happen. And just as I expected, I snapped my player's head towards my mind to find all torches missing and the entity fading out at the bottom of the diagonal cavern. I hit print screen fast enough to capture the only evidence I have of its existence. Look at it, and look at it closely. Another Entity Zero sighting happened a bit of time after that in an FTB world. The player was just playing the game as normal until the now regular for Entity Zero RAM crashes and lag spikes began. The timestamps at which the RAM crashes occurred? All zeros. His strip mines would start to lead to weird and unexpected places, and he would catch constant glances of the weird gray figure. Every time the player wasn't looking, parts of his world would be removed or modified by Entity Zero. No more sightings were officially documented after that. Ever since, YouTubers and regular players alike made stories and videos centering around Entity Zero, claiming to have encountered him in-game, yet none of the sightings were confirmed to be real. So, what do we know about Entity Zero after all of that being said? Entity Zero has two canonical names, which are Annihilation and, well, Entity Zero. He can be spotted in Minecraft versions 1.2.5 and above. The signs your world might be infected with Entity Zero are crash logs entirely of zeros, RAM usage in worlds crashing to zero suddenly, frame rate dropping to zero suddenly, chunks warped and distorted or completely flat. Annihilation's powers are creation and destruction, modification of its own code, teleportation, flying, invisibility, invincibility, superhuman strength, and manipulation of computers. And now let's snap back to reality. You might ask, Devi, why do you find this creepypasta so interesting? Well, first of all, it's just really well written. It's grammatically correct, the punctuation is right, and the storytelling is honestly great. Second of all, it's actually believable. Unlike that Entity 303 bullshit everyone keeps hyping up. You read the story and you think to yourself, wow, hey, that actually makes sense. And that's something not a lot of creepypastas can accomplish. And third, the entity is just really cool. I really love its design. It doesn't go the regular route of making something traditionally scary. It tries something new, and that's what it's all about. But at least this entity isn't real, and our Minecraft worlds are forever safe from him. But even though our Minecraft worlds are safe from him, you aren't.